pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Donnie, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you, Lord, for another day you gave us, Lord. We ask, Lord, that you just be with us, Lord, and be with us around our decisions and everything that for the betterment of the county, Lord. We ask this in Jesus' name, and amen.
Amen. All right. Roll call, Miss Vicki.
Eric Gilfrey.
Here.
Donnie Keaton.
Here.
Bobby Fannin.
Here.
Brandon Evans.
Here.
Leroy Gibbs. Here. Jim Gazette.
Here.
Sure.
Okay. We have minutes of the last meeting. We can go ahead and review those. And I entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve minutes of both the special and the regular meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes from the special call meeting and the regular stated meeting. Any questions or discussion, amendments? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to welcome Deborah Robbins, Miss Wheelchair Kentucky, here tonight. She's going to speak to us for a few minutes. So everybody, please give her a warm hand and welcome. Eric, please get the microphone for her. Thank you. He's on it.
That's what cousins are for.
I know. You're taking care of it.
There you go.
Hello. March 1st, 2025, I traveled to Louisville, Kentucky, where I competed against 3 other ladies for the Miss Wheelchair Kentucky pageant. And as Miss Wheelchair Kentucky, I was actually crowned Miss Wheelchair Kentucky before I get ahead of myself that day. And so my duties this year are to go around the state of Kentucky, visit schools, talk with politicians, and raise awareness of accessibility, how to improve accessibility, and to talk about how to normalize wheelchair usage. So tonight I'm here to talk to you guys about that. And to start with, I want people in wheelchairs to realize that we're as important as the rest of you guys. We should be able to go anywhere and do anything that, people that walk do. And I have to say, I was pretty impressed because when I got here, I was lost, and Linda was nice enough to show me where the elevator was to get up here, but the elevator needs some work. When you're inside the elevator, you can't get out unless someone's helping you. So that's something you guys can look at. But so besides that, a story I like to tell when I'm out talking to people about being in this wheelchair is one day I was in Kroger, and there was this man in Kroger came up to me, and I don't know, maybe he was trying to be polite. It wasn't very polite in my book. He looked at me and said, "What's a young woman like you, a pretty young woman like you, doing in a wheelchair?" And I looked at the guy and I said, "Walking." And he looked at me and he's like, "What?" I said, "When you need to get from point A to point B, you use your legs and you walk." I said, "When I need to get from point A to point B, My legs don't walk, so I use the wheelchair. It's my mobility aid. And so that's what I want to do as Miss Wheelchair Kentucky is I want to help people to see the person, not the wheelchair, because just like everybody else has dreams and goals and wishes, and just like everybody else has, things that you can do and can't do, so do we. If you look at the word disability, it starts with dis, which means not, and then ability, which is defined as, the skill set to do something. Someone asked me when I came in why I brought the ball yarn and the crochet hook, what I was going to make. Well, Eric got lucky. He got to sit by me. Eric's going to crochet us a hat.
Oh,
How big?
Jim's size.
Big hat.
But I may not be able to walk. That might be my disability. But I can paint. I can crochet. I can knit. There's lots of things that people in wheelchairs can do. Just the fact that we can't walk doesn't make us unimportant to the community and the society. And so that's my plan for this year. And in August, I will be going to Grand Rapids, Michigan to represent the entire state of Kentucky as Miss Wheelchair Kentucky in the Miss Wheelchair America pageant. So I'm looking forward to that. I've never been that far from home, and I have to be there a whole week. So I'm sure it'll be fun and interesting. But the Fiscal Court and Judge Gizay, they got the nice little handout with my platform and all the information on the back of it about Miss Wheelchair Kentucky and Miss Wheelchair America. Miss Wheelchair, unlike other pageants based on beauty, it's based on advocacy and raising awareness in your community and your state about the things that affect people in wheelchairs. But when I go to Michigan, I won't just be representing ladies from the state of Kentucky in wheelchairs. I'll be representing anybody across their state that has a disability of any kind. And so I thank you guys for allowing me the opportunity to talk. And on the back of your all's papers, I will be traveling around. If any of you are business people in the state, the county, I'm going to be traveling around to get sponsors to help cover the trip to Michigan. So don't be surprised if you see me show up at your door.
Deborah, thank you. And I just want to express my thanks to you for your service, not only to our community, but to the statewide and every county in the community. And I applaud you for what you're doing in that service that you're doing. And all right, we're moving the agenda around a little bit tonight. We got a gentleman that's got a long drive to Montana, so we're going to move him up from 18 to next. So I believe, Ken, is that you? You want to start this off? And I believe...
Actually, I didn't know about the other meetings. I was only just contacted about this yesterday.
Yeah.
The day before. So unless somebody got proof that they have rights to my land.
We got that. Yeah, we got that deed. Linda, did you bring that deed?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Who's Kim Ratliff? Are you here?
Me or Cameron?
Yeah, either one of you. You guys say you have documents too? Please approach the podium and pick up the mic. Use the mic over there. Thanks, Eric.
Yes, sir. I'm Kenneth Abrams. I've owned the property when the road was put in.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the aerial paper and the deed.
You got a deed?
Yes, sir.
Could you show a deed to the court, please? Let the magistrate see it.
Are we talking about, is this Conley Branch?
Conley Branch. Yeah, Conley Branch.
And what property was it you owned?
The upper end of it, the head of Coney Branch.
This guy.
I don't know everybody up there, so.
I knew years ago. When Glenn Keaton and Polly Keaton, Kurt Keaton lived there.
Okay.
Yeah, start the page. Yeah, pass that down. This is this is something else. Oh, is that the same thing?
You said you owned the property before, Tim had it?
Yes.
Or before-
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Before Jesse Creech?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right, so who made the road?
When we bought the property and we took the initiative of finding out how we can do it, and we went through Glen Keaton, through the county, and we cut the right of way, and they came in and gravelled it and put the gravel in it, and they maintained it every year when we lived there.
Is that the same deed?
Yeah, this is, the right of way on it, and,
That's the right of way deed, right?
yeah.
And where do we find that at, Linda? Linda,
It was,
Oh.
it was emailed to me from.
Here's your two copies.
from the clerk, so the city clerk had that,
County clerk.
county clerk.
So I've done my own separate research on this. You say head of Conley Branch, you mean when it splits there, you go up to the left side?
Right side and straight up the root.
You say to the right side?
Yeah, you go up
It
to
went
it.
through the creek, and then there was a roadway that went straight up to the opening of the holler.
So you said something about, what did you say about the creek?
Well, they put a culvert in to where it could be gone through the creek.
Okay. Was the road originally through the creek, or was the road?
No, we cut the right of way out from where the county wanted us to make a point of where we needed to go into the holler. So we spent our time cutting, cleaning, digging. I mean, we clear cutted it. They came in with the tractors and everything, and they put the road in for us. And then they maintained the gravel in it every year.
Do you know if that's before or after Mr. Johnson's property?
I don't remember all the names, but at the time, Polly Keaton and Glenn Keaton and Herbie Keaton lived out in front of us.
So the Keatons lived in front of where you currently own?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that helps me out a little bit. So the other day, here's my situation. I've talked to Mr. Johnson. I've talked to Mr. Ratliff. Back in 1992, Glenn Keaton gave away property to Polly Keaton, Glenn Keaton and a bunch of people. On the upper side, I believe that's the property you're dealing with you and Mr. Ratliff. And so in 1993, originally I seen a deed to an easement to say, hey, there can be a county road here through my portion of it, but it was signed by Glenn Keaton. At first that confused me when I was talking to Mr. Ratliff. I said, well, you can't give an easement to something you don't own, okay? So I had my assistant county attorney go down there. We did an exhaustive search of the situation that this applies to. So evidently Glenn Keaton gave it to Polly. Polly gave it to somebody in early 1993. In mid-1993, they all gave it back to Glenn Keaton, okay? Then in December of 1993, Glenn Keaton, who had ownership of that property, gave the easement to the county. So it's usually you give an easement to the next property that needs the easement, but in this situation, it was given to the county for the specific purpose of making a county road. There was also a Jesse Creech that had a piece of property that I believe the part of that property is now Mr. Johnson's or close to it. Well, yeah, well, you have the Creech property, and then you have the Keaton property, okay, from what I understand. So the Jesse Keaton got that through a kind of a divorce decree, and him and his wife also signed over an easement for 0.4 miles to get up to this area. So there was two different parties given about a half a mile each to make the county. For the purpose of making a county road. However, here's the problem that Mr. Johnson, I believe, rationally has, that he legitimately has. Okay, so this easement, while I believe that it is legal, it happened 28 years ago. I mean, it's on record in Randy Williams' office. It is not very specific when we're talking about where it's going to go. It basically says from the big road, whatever, I can't remember that road, and it says in a westerly direction, 15 feet wide, and that's it. That's what it says. Okay, so I've talked to Mr. Johnson, I've talked to Mr. Ratliff. I'm sorry I haven't talked to you. I know you live in this area. There's only so many ways to go 15 feet wide to where you're wanting to go. Okay, there's a creek there. It is between two hills, and unfortunately, it goes right by Mr. Johnson's bedroom window. 5-10 feet there. Okay, so you have an issue of, do I legally think that there is an easement that Morgan County has to go to the road there? Yes, I do. Mr. Johnson here is here, and I think he might want to talk about why that might not be the best thing to do, to make a road to a place that, he says that there's no need to be in this place if you're, a county road, but that's up to you all, and that's what I've explained to him. So I think Mr. Ratliff's here, Mr. Johnson's here. Of course, Mr. Ratliff and you both have reasons to be there. Mr. Johnson is kind of against that, but in the end, my legal thing is I think that there's an easement to be there, but you also have to weigh that against the county interest in actually, making it a county road and putting resources in there. Okay. So other than that, it's a political decision. It's your own decision, and I'll leave it there. Go ahead. Why do you need a county road there, I guess?
To gain access to the head of the holler, to get in and work and start cleaning up.
Yeah, plus we lived there years ago.
But, you were actually on the land back there
No,
No, so you
no, I
don't,
don't own the land.
you don't own it.
But I did years ago.
Okay. Do you own any land up there now?
No.
Okay, so let's hear from the people that do, okay? Let's hear their reasons, and we'll hear the reasons from the people that make it a hardship for them, and then it'll be a political decision,
Well, what he's here for is to show where the road ran. He knows exactly.
Yeah, I know where the road actually went, through the holler.
We'll start off with y'all. Couple of copies here, some mail. That's 2801 Congress Branch Road. That's some old mail. The mail used to run there. He blocked the roads and it can no longer get through. He's actually stopped the mail from running.
He's passed away. He's deceased. He used to live there. Now the house is no longer there. So it's a house. Yeah.
Next, I'm going to pass around here an aerial photograph. There's only one way into that house. There's no other way.
No, but Ron Keaton said when his dad was the one who gave him the property or the easement, and then Ron was the one who pulled the double wide in and more or less set it on the easement. The son did. So that's
So there's no access at all to that property?
I've not been to that property for almost 3 years. He come in here from another state and just decided to block the road.
So the road is blocked, is what I'm saying.
Completely blocked. Cannot get through. It's guarded by several huge dogs.
Yeah. Where does the county road stop at? Right at the double wide?
yeah, right up here before you get to that.
So it's private drive now.
But can we take it in where it's goes to the last house?
That's the other thing, okay, so remember, we've talked about glorified driveways, and we've talked about making, driveways to the last house. No, okay, I'm gonna talk about an exception to this rule, but that's what lawyers do, okay? We'll have the main thing, and then we'll have exceptions, okay? So normally, you are not allowed to, expend county funds in order to, improve or make roads, well, not improve, but create roads to the last house of a holler or something, because in the end, that becomes, what we call, I guess, us magistrates and lawyers, we call it glorified driveways, okay? You can't say, hey, we're gonna make it to this one person and only this one person, because why does community funds need to be used for one person? However, okay, there are exceptions to this, so if a county fiscal court believes that there is a communal interest or a county interest, it'll help Morgan County to build a road out, say, to some subdivision that we believe is being made, then technically you could do that, okay? But there would have to, you would have to explain yourself if you ever got called into, circuit court. Hey, this is why we did this, and this was for the betterment of the community. So yes, 99% of the time, I'm going to say we don't need to make roads to one place. But I got it as a lawyer. I've got to give you the exception. If there is a big communal interest, if we're building an industrial park in the middle of nowhere, we can build a road there if we want to, but we have to justify it.
But
And let me explain one little else thing, okay? You making these roads and not making the roads. You can always have a road, but choose not to improve it or keep it up, okay? Nobody can tell Morgan County what roads we're going to upkeep and what roads we aren't.
but how can he landlock it?
That is a very good question, okay? If somebody is landlocked you, everybody knows that the federal government wants land to be able to be used because the federal government wants their money, the state wants their money. So the state always allows a mechanism that people aren't landlocked. That usually comes up to the person that's landlocked, though. They would have to sue in Morgan County Circuit Court for the right to not be landlocked, okay? So you would have an easement by necessity, or, there's like 6 or 7 other easements I haven't remembered since law school, but they're there, okay? The only slight wrinkle with this one, as opposed to other easements, is that this easement is given to Morgan County, okay? So yes, I think Mr. Ratliff could, in the end, go to circuit court and get an easement and win it and all that, and you'd have an order. Morgan County is the one that has the easement, so he would have to get a different type of easement than one that's already been prescribed by the deed in 1993.
How would that work if that becomes just a public road where there's an easement there?
So, everybody talks about public roads, and we see that in the statutes, okay? We see how you create public roads and how you create easements and all that. But everybody forgets the fact that in order for this stuff to be deemed that, one person can't just go out and say, I believe that's a public road, I'm going to be there whenever I want. You have to take it to court. You have to sue somebody, and you have to say, hey, I need an easement for this, or this has been a public road for 15 years or longer, I want it. So, if you say, hey, Morgan County doesn't need this road, you could not take it in, and, maybe Mr. Ratliff can, I'm pretty positive he could win an easement. I don't know where, but he could win somewhere. You could take it in and basically do no improvement that allow access to the other property, or you can choose not to do anything. I've asked multiple people in this area, is there any other way? I do feel for Mr. Johnson, although I believe that there is an easement there. I do feel for Mr. Johnson that this is real close, to his bedroom window, And so I've asked if there's any other way, could we divert it 20 feet this way, or can we go on the other side of the creek or something? Nobody seems to be able to say yes on that, so that's kind of, that's why this is a pretty bad situation.
When I bought the property, I was told.
Mr. Johnson, could you use the microphone, please?
When I bought the property, I was told that there was no easements, no nothing. On my deed, it shows no easements. You know, so we bought that property under, you know, what we were gonna do with it, you know, have horses there and stuff like that, you know. I wanted to be able to let them run loose, graze where they could. I ain't got much grass there, but I mean, it's better than eating hay all the time. So I put the gates up. The gates weren't put up intentionally for him. They were put up so I could keep my horses in. There is a side when you come into the turnaround. Donnie's seen it. There is a path that goes up. I've never seen it. I mean, I own 105 acres back there. I probably only ever seen 60 of it. You know, I am the last house on that road. My property almost completely surrounds that road on both sides because I go back past Albert and then I go part way down the road, about halfway down Albert's property for the line.
Is there another easement that you could give access back to there?
The only way back there that I know is, you know, if that path up and around works, or my bedroom window. And I'm selling the house right now and the property, and you know, this is killing me because now all offers are off the table.
Is there any other questions for Mr. Johnson or Mr. Ratliff? Or Mr. Abrams? Any questions from the court?
All I can say, it's been a county road for like 30 years. Public road. It's been traveled by everybody. That's the reason another guy was here letting you know back in 1988 they traveled it. All of a sudden it stops, you know, put a gate across. That's just pretty dirty. You all can decide what you want to do, but
There used to be a bus route on that.
he stopped the bus too.
No, I did not stop the bus.
You did
No,
stop
I did
the
not. I asked them to give me a 10-minute window. And when they weren't giving me a 10-minute window to get out for work, I called them up and they said, we will just not come up there anymore. I said, fair enough. I've never stopped.
county garage said they were stopped, could not turn there. I talked to the mail postmaster. He said they were stopped also, cannot go through. But all I can say, you know.
The gates weren't up there for the first 6 months that I was there. Postman never went past my house.
Judge, that easement where the directions and stuff is wrong, will that matter? See, because
So, you know, one of the first concerns is that it says from the main road in a westerly direction, 15 feet. In a westerly direction.
it don't go that way, so that's.
It also says that it joins my property. It does say on here, I'm holding the right way here.
Yeah, I mean, it goes through there.
There's only one way to join my property.
Just that good. Up there, it gets horses up there, hit the rail panels up around this up here. And you go up here. That goes across the top of it, there's a big block there too. Where's the actually end of the county? I think I stopped right there, not right there, because there's a turnaround right here. And that's where it stops at. So, right at the, right there, where the gate's at, so it stops at. Yeah.
So we can either make, county attorney, so we can either make a motion tonight to either.
I mean, it's what, as I said, it's what you want to do. I mean, if you want to make a road, then
But it
You
has
have
to
an
be,
easement.
there has to be a benefit though to be back there.
You don't wanna make a road to just anywhere, okay? You don't want to spend everybody's money on just one person, okay? And just one household. That's why that I've been very adamant, kind of over the years, that we need to stop at that second to last household. Second to last household, there's 2 households being served there. You get down to where there's 1 household being served, and then you're basically spending money for this, the glorified driveway. That's what I'm gonna say about that. You can do this. You have reasons not to. You have reasons to. The easement is to Morgan County. It is not, it is not to Mr. Ratliff. So if Mr. Ratliff wants the easement, he's gonna have to fight for it, okay? If you all want the easement, you have it there, but, you've got there's the other issue as well, the last house and all that kind of stuff.
So, I mean, if we don't,
You all have voted to make it, so whatever the vote is now, you voted to make it, you can take back that vote. Or you can leave the vote to be and just not improve it, or you can say, no, I don't want it to be a road.
let them settle it in court.
You can do that.
Or we can also table it to investigate further, which I don't see any use for, but.
Normally, I would say, let's go ahead and survey it, like we're doing on some other issues. But what are you gonna survey about something that says west? I mean,
Yeah, it depends on where they're standing, and it just, because it's, and it
Yeah.
says at the end of Conley Branch, so, I mean, you don't know where the end of that road was.
well, it's actually pretty decent about the links. It goes 0.4 and then it goes 0.8 on when you have the deed of it, the easement deeds or whatever. So that's pretty good. And it's actually good about the width. But they missed where it's at. That's like the main thing that you would think that would have been written. They got the width, they got the length. It's where it's at.
Gentlemen?
I just got one more thing. I mean, you had it as an easement and it was taken care of for how long? I mean, not once has anybody ever come up to put a stone down for me. They did up in this bus turnaround, but never down the driveway back there. I've never seen it.
No, that's where they would stop at, that's where the bus turns.
That's where the bus turns, yeah. All right.
So they did there, but
Yeah.
never
I
that 0.8 going back.
They never
to
did
my
do it.
house where the road was done.
That's right, that's what, right there, exactly, that's where it stopped.
Is there a maintenance length for this road?
It says 0.8 in the easement.
Yeah, but it's not even 0.8. I mean, Donnie was up there. 0.8 would go straight up into his property, past that spelling that is there.
Yeah, Greg was up there, I don't know what Greg did.
Well, gentlemen, we can either make a motion to take back the one from last meeting, or we can, what do you want to do? Donnie, it's your district.
No.
This is a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, I see both sides, because I wouldn't want it to go right at the end of my house. And then I wouldn't, I don't want to landlock him, so, I don't know.
Well, it's either we make a decision here or let them take it to court.
That's what I'd say, just,
I said if he can get up and around that path, I'm fine with that. If, that path goes back that far, I'm fine with that. But just not past my bedroom window.
yeah, I mean, there's a,
Mr. Ratliff, do you hear that?
There's no path or anything that I'm aware of. I mean, who's going, a path, what do you want me to do, walk in, or what do you want me to do on the path?
I mean, I'd rather you go walking up that path than looking in my bedroom window.
Oh, you'd rather I walk up the path.
You know what I'm saying? It goes right past my bedroom window.
Well, you knew that when you lived there. The road was already there, the road was already there. Even people on their property.
Yeah, people own the property, but there's no dwelling back there.
So the whole road is,
There's no water line that runs back there.
Yes, there is. There's a water line and electric line that runs. So
That's all the water. There's 3 meters and all 3 meters are mine.
No, they're not. I can prove that too. They think you stole one, and that may come up later.
I didn't steal any, I didn't have nothing done.
Well, one of them belongs to
So
me.
talk to your buddy Ron about that.
Well,
He got me on that
They
property.
took it.
All right. I
the
think this is,
whole road, Colley Branch is what? 0.5,
Yeah, half a mile.
half a mile, it's the whole road.
I don't even know,
In the easement, remember, that was 0.4 for the Creech property and 0.4 for the Keaton property. So it ended up being 0.8.
Oh, I thought you said 0.8 on mine. and 0.4 on Creech.
Well, they added up because both of them
Oh,
did.
okay.
The
Yeah.
Creech property did 0.4 and then 0.8. That's why I just assumed that the Creech property was yours and the Keaton property was theirs, but, I mean, you could have the Keaton property.
I have to keep.
Okay, that's the back portion of that property.
And show Colley Branch. That's just what it's showing. Get to Colley Branch Road. Just like that thing, yeah. That's where it goes.
Cause the whole road is a half a mile. So,
Where does that end?
Yeah.
How far
where's
does?
where's that half
it
mile
ends,
end at?
right there where the bus turns around, where he's talking
Oh,
about, at the end of the blacktop.
yeah, I was up there, I know where that is.
That's the county maintenance road.
Yeah.
County maintenance is right at the gate.
Yeah.
Where the turnaround is.
Yeah.
Is that correct, Terry?
Mhm. So, Greg, it's not a half a mile on up through there, is it? I mean, so it's, the distance is,
So they're gonna have to, go ahead and sell, if he wants that part of that road there.
so does the county have to be involved in this since it's given to us, or do they take it to court?
I'm sorry.
I said, is the county gonna have to be involved in it, or do they just, you can take it to court?
County doesn't have to be involved in it. Right now, you said you've made it into a county road, okay? So right now, it is a county road, and so we could force our way through there. If you say you don't want to do anything, then you could vote to remove it, okay? And you could say, hey, we don't want this anymore, we think it doesn't serve the county interest. So you have to undo something you've done before. Because I think, we voted on this, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you have to do something, otherwise it'll always be there. The fiscal court is a court of record, it doesn't matter if it's 1,000 people and 10 video cameras that see us do something. If it's not recorded through Randy Williams' office and the way we record things, then it didn't happen. So, we always have to make sure that if it was taken in and you don't want it, then you have to take it back out.
Does it matter if nobody lives up there?
You can so adding a county road and taking one out is two different processes, okay? If you're adding a county road, then you all have a fiduciary duty to make sure that it's serving, more than one person. If you're taking a road out of the system, you just have to believe that it no longer serves the county, the purposes that the county envisioned for it. So, I mean, you can take it out by just saying that it's not serving enough people.
So would adverse possession work on that one?
Okay. We started the one down the road to civil court. I've told Mr. Johnson, first of all, I just want to say, I mean, it's a small community. I've tried to be, fair with everybody. Mr. Johnson and Mr. Ratliff were both previously my clients, okay? I've tried to do right by everybody. I've told Mr. Johnson, I believe the easement exists. You know, it would have been found with the title search. The title search wasn't requested, but it's there. I'll try to help you out. I wouldn't want that to happen to me. I wouldn't want my
I
bedroom.
did have the title search done, but it did not show.
Well, it was 28 years. But with all that said, I feel bad for Mr. Johnson. I also feel bad for Mr. Ratliff, okay? But you look at, hey, who's going to solve the problem? Is it up to Morgan County to solve the problem, or Mr. Ratliff? If there is a need for Morgan County to be there, then you have an obligation to fix that and continue on with it. You know, if it's not, then you kind of got to let it go. But you know, let people deal with that.
What's Mr. Ratliff's plans? Mr. Ratliff?
Well, I gotta wait to see what you all do. I really don't know, so you all make a move, and you all know that there's been permits filed for coal on that property.
Well, they won't bring the coal down that road, will they?
Excuse me?
They won't bring the coal out that way.
Well, they may not.
No, it'll come in off Straight Creek.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's.
There's no way they could be.
No. I don't know.
What do you wanna do?
I don't
I
know.
mean, it's pretty, you got two motions, what do you wanna do? You either make a call here tonight, or you can turn it over to the courts. But you're gonna have to either withdraw it, like vote from the last month, withdraw that.
Yeah, let's just withdraw it and, let them get it settled before we, make a move on spending any money on, through the county. That's what I think.
Okay.
I mean,
So that is a motion to take that road out of the county system from the split at Mr. Johnson's house.
right.
From the split up. All right,
Hold on, when you said split up, what are you talking about?
at the gate,
You have to gate where the bus turns.
Okay, so are you giving me back the easement?
No.
no, we're just taking that.
Well,
It would have to
technically,
be-
he's making a motion to take the road out of the county system. He's not making a motion to end the easement. Of course, if we're not using the easement, then it's not really there. So,
But if he wants to
But
take
at
to
any
the
time,
court,
you should bring back the easement.
yeah.
I mean, we're not gonna give up Morgan County rights, okay? So, he's saying that we're not gonna make the road through there right now, okay? He's not saying we're giving up stuff that we had since 1993. However, you know, as with both, I've told you, Mr. Ratliff, that doesn't mean that Mr. Ratliff can't proceed on, you know, with, to the courts and stuff like that, okay? If he has cause, okay?
And then can the surveyor look at it and see what, you know?
A surveyor can look, but I mean, if y'all want the easement, you can have it. It's a westerly direction. If you all go up there and say, we think it's better through this area than through another area, you could make it through there. I'm sure Mr. Johnson would say, hey, that would be great. But right now, I mean, there's different issues. There's like 5 different
I
issues
know,
here.
it just,
The issue you're all saying, you make a motion on is to say we're withdrawing the road
from the previous,
from the gate that turns right there at that road on. You're not giving up the easement, you're just saying that you want to withdraw the county road portion of it.
So, was that a motion? Do I hear a second?
I'll say,
We have a motion on the floor to remove that portion of County Branch Road from the county road system. The easement will stay in place.
yes.
That's been properly seconded. Is there any further discussion or questions from the court? There being none, all in favor? Opposed?
I abstain. I abstain.
Motion carries. Motion carries. 2 abstains. 1, 2, 3. Oh,
Is that you, Brandon?
so. So it's up to me. All right, I'll say aye. Well, no, we got a motion. So
You got 3.
we got 3. Yeah, we got 3. We got 3. All right. All right, motion carries.
Who abstained on that? Tommy and Brandon?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Moving along. Enterprise, yes, sir.
I'm gonna take off.
Safe travels.
Yeah, thank you.
Caitlin is here. Caitlin, come up, grab the microphone and introduce yourself.
I've got pamphlets to pass out too.
All right. More papers, guys.
I'll go through every one slide, don't worry.
Well, hello, everyone. My name's Caitlin. I'm an account executive with Enterprise Fleet Management. I'm out of Louisville, Kentucky, but I cover all of Kentucky and southern Indiana. Essentially, my job is working with different companies, organizations, institutions, and government municipalities, helping with their fleet of vehicles. So I met Jim at the KCJA conference last year. We actually used to be partnered with Morgan County several years ago. However, the timing just wasn't quite there to start off the partnership in the right way. Looks like there was some changes and things going on internally. So now I'm essentially back to restart that partnership. But a little bit about me, been with Enterprise for 5 years. Went to Western Kentucky University. And I'm originally from New Orleans, even if I do not sound like it. So that's a little bit about me. I know, originally from there. Yes. But that's just a little bit about me. There's a lot on your slides. Really, my goal is to try to make it conversational and answer questions you have. I know you guys have a lot on your plate tonight. So really, I'll just kind of explain what we do with clients. So essentially, we help them manage their fleet of vehicles, both on an administrative level, handling, title, license, recall management, all the things that come with owning a vehicle, but also the financial portions of it. So helping you acquire vehicles, tracking your maintenance data, your fuel data, where are my dollars going, in my fleet of vehicles? And ultimately at the very end, how do we get rid of this vehicle in the resale, the end of its life cycle? So this first page is what I like to call our wheel of service. It's everything we do for our clients, but it doesn't have to be everything. Some people pick and choose. It's very much a plug and play as you go, whatever your county sees fit. So that's just a little bit of what we offer. But that second page too, with all the different names, that is a lot of our clients that we work with here in the state of Kentucky. So as far as counties go, we got Boyd, Harlan, Warren County, Barron County. You'll notice at the very bottom, LaRue County. I just partnered with LaRue. Just had their implementation meeting last week with Judge Durrett. I helped bring them on. So we're looking at that partnership. It's been going really well, but we're a little bit of everywhere. And as far as commercial wise too, if you know Appalachian Regional Healthcare, the Allen Company out in Lexington, multiple different facets. We're also, ingrained in the community as well, besides just the government space.
Okay. And you say you can save us money?
I sure can save y'all money, that's for sure. I know that's the end goal, right? So if you flip a little bit over to this big old spreadsheet right here, this is what we like to call, it's titled Fleet Planning Analysis, but it is our 10-year model. So essentially when we partner with government entities, we don't want to just sell y'all a couple of trucks and walk away. We're not in the business to do that. We're here to help you budget, financially plan for what are your needs, not only now, but from 12 months from now, 18 months from now, helping you all budget. So this is just a small 10-year snapshot. We oversaw 33 vehicles. Now there are vehicles excluded from this analysis, such as heavy-duty equipment like your dump trucks, heavy-duty equipment for your road department. We excluded those. But ultimately, not to walk y'all line by line, but really that green box right there, the net sustainable impact,
Once you're fully implemented, there's at least a net savings of almost $11,000 per year based off of 33 vehicles. And in a 10-year snapshot, there's almost $100,000 worth of savings. But again, I will venture to say that that number could go quite more if you allow us to also do your heavy duty equipment too. There's a large opportunity to help with that because we know those trucks are very expensive.
Such as snowplows?
Such as snowplows, yes.
Our foreman will probably have an interest in that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that next page, this total cost of ownership breakdown, I was sent a VIN number. I think you all had a 2009 F450 go down, salt spreader, dump truck, regular cab. So I went ahead and ran the numbers on that vehicle. If you were to do a 5-year open-ended lease, which I'll talk about what our open-ended lease is, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions with that. But essentially, if you go all the way to those highlighted figures, your estimated cash outlay for your first year on that vehicle is roughly going to be $34,000. That's including a 50% down payment on the aftermarket. We're estimating that to be about $32,000 with the dump bed and the salt spreader. However, I will say if there's more things you want to add on, that's going to change. This is just very much estimation. So your cash outlay is going to be $34,000 versus I believe you all had budgeted $100,000 for that truck. So it's really the open-ended lease option we have is a great cash flow tool because you're able to cap in your aftermarket into the lease, which is nice. But ultimately, I will say this, if you do decide to partner with Enterprise, you do not have to do a lease with us and still be a partner. If y'all want to continue paying cash, pay cash. That's totally fine. And you can also do a traditional finance. We have many different ways to skin a cat, if you will, on the financing piece. We'll make it work however you all see fit. It's your dollars. We're just here to help put them in the right spots.
That truck you were talking about right now, could you help us with that, replacing that right now?
We can, yes. So that brings up a good point. We are in the season right now where manufacturers are starting to close their order banks. It's part of that season. So Stellantis has now, their order banks are going to be closed as of April 1st, so we won't be able to do a Ram vehicle. But if you do want a Ford, the Ford order banks, I believe, close April 30th. So there's time. You definitely don't have to make a decision tonight. But if this program is something you all see fit, you want to get this truck and put it on order right through the manufacturer, through the factory, we can do that. We've got a little bit of time.
Okay. Any questions from the court for Caleb? Road foreman, you got any questions?
I'm good.
You just want to plow. You just want to
I hear you. I hear you. That's what I'm here to help with.
Okay, thank you, Kate, and we'll the masters have that, and you guys can reach out to her if you have any further questions. You can reach out to her. Is there contact information on her?
Absolutely. Thank you all for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Well, Sheila, it's like your turn.
Treasurer's report.
Yeah, treasurer's report.
Good evening, everyone. For the treasurer's report tonight, we'll start with 7A, which is our financial statement. This is fiscal year 25 financial statement as of February 28th of 25. We have 3 attachments for you all to view. The first one is the reconciled account balance and financial statement across all funds. I have also included a revenue and appropriation condition reports that tells in detail that summarized financial statement. And we will just need approval on those statements. And if you have any questions, just let me know.
I'll make a motion to approve the financial statement.
I'll second.
Go ahead, Eric.
Oh, you're good.
You got it.
Eric's got it. All right, we have a motion on the floor, spent properly second to approve the financial statements ending through 28/25 as presented. Any questions or discussions from the court? There being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, moving along to 7B, which is budget amendments. The first reading of budget amendment number 8 was approved at our last regular meeting on February 27th. We also submitted it to DLG. It was also signed by the state local finance officer and approved. This will be the second reading of fiscal year 25 budget amendment number 8 in the amount of $359,201.06. I have also attached the signed budget amendment over on the side for you all to view as well. And if you have any questions on that budget amendment, just let me know.
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading and adoption of fiscal year 25 budget amendment number 8 in the amount of $359,201.96.
Yes.
I'll second it.
Motion on the floor has been properly seconded for the approval of the second reading and adoption of the fiscal year 25 budget amendment number 8 in the amount of $359,201.06. Questions or discussions from the court? There being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Continue on.
Next is 7C, which is budget transfers. This is fiscal year 25 budget transfers number 8 in the amount of $64,735.36. I have included the budget transfer form for you all to view. As you can see, we have budget transfers in needed accounts across the general fund, road fund, jail fund, and special projects funds. The total budget transfers for this form would be $64,735.36. We would just need approval to make those budget transfers into those accounts.
I'll make a motion to approve the FY25 budget transfer number 8 in the amount of $64,735.36.
A second.
We have a motion on the floor. It's been properly seconded for the approval of fiscal year 25 budget transfers number 8 in the amount of $64,735.36. Any further questions or discussion? There being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, moving along to 7D, which is interfund cash transfer. We have one interfund cash transfer tonight, which would be from the general fund to the jail fund. This is not a originally budgeted transfer, but this is needed for the operation of the jail fund. It'll be for $50,000. We'll just need approval to do that cash transfer from the general into the jail fund for operations.
I'll make a motion, make the cash transfer from the general fund to the jail fund.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor. It's been properly seconded for the approval of fiscal year 25 interfund cash transfer from the general fund to the jail fund in the amount of $50,000. Questions, discussion? There being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the last item for the treasurer's report is our periodic checklist. This is just informational only for the court. We always come each month with a checklist that shows all the duties that are required and that they have been completed and double checked by the finance officer, and they have been submitted and done on a timely basis. And if y'all have any questions on those, just let me know. But that's all I have for tonight for the treasurer's report.
Any questions? Nope. All right. Let's move along to the fiscal year 26 jail budget. Sheena, you're still up.
Okay. DLG requires a fiscal year 26 jail budget to be presented to the court before April the 1st. This is an annual procedural item that we do each year. This is a presentation of the fiscal year 26 jail budget. I have that as an attachment for you all on the side there. This is the actual jail budget that we have presented for fiscal year 26. As you can see down there, it shows all of the revenue for the jail fund, and then of course the expenditures and appropriation line items that would make up that year's jail budget. I also have included a comparison report for fiscal year 25 compared to the numbers in the budget for fiscal year 26. If y'all want to open that up as well, it is a little went on sideways. But as you can see on the first comparison report, the change on that was that our LGEA funding is no longer available to operate the jail fund. We always use our LGEA money to operate that. That will no longer be available.
That's commonly known as
It's called like coal severance
coal
money.
severance and economic development.
Morgan County is no longer coal producing, so our funding will be effective immediately to no longer have those funds available. Our fiscal year 25 budget was for $146,000. That those funds will now come out of the general fund. That's the change in the revenue. Everything else pretty much stayed the same. It'll go from the general fund supporting the jail fund from $445,385 to $623,185. And that's actually a difference of $177,800. And the difference that is over the 146 is on the second reporting page, which is if you go down at about 4 line items there, contracts with other counties, that line item increased in our appropriations. That is our inmate housing. In fiscal year 25, we estimated our jail bill to be $425,000. It will be estimated, and of course, like I said, this is an estimate. It will be rounding now as average around $37,000 a month, and we need to put that up to $460,000 a year. Across the rest of the appropriation line items, nothing else, very minimal change, but that added on to the LGEA funding will need to be the $177,800 in additional funding. And if you go down there, you can see the comparison on that. Pretty much everything else stayed the same other than the contracts with other county line item, which is the jail bill. And that just averaged out to a little more each month, and that's the only reason that one changed. But I just wanted to give the court that comparison. That way y'all could see from one year to the next on the jail budget.
And jail bill is killing us.
So that's...
How much is it a day like Big Sandy compared to Round County?
It's $42 a day, right, Vicki? $42 a day for Round County.
$42 a day.
Round County 42.
We currently have a contract with Round County. I haven't checked with Big Sandy, but I can if the court.
I notice every now and then we do have some people with Big Sandy or whatever, but 42 is pretty good.
Yes.
The thing about Round County, which is a little bit better than Big Sandy, is that they have a doctor on staff that actually, does a lot more stuff there rather than opposed to send everybody, to the hospital. So.
Right. We budgeted on last year's, and Vicki and I, we figured up that it's probably good to just carry over that balance or carry over that number. We estimated medical costs would probably be around $15,000, and that's annually. So with the 460 and the 15, it's about $475,000 for the inmate housing and medical for the jail fund.
So
everything else is pretty much just standard numbers.
So we go to Big Sandy looking to see what they got. There might be a savings there. And I will say Judge Clark has done an excellent job in Brown County of keeping that, but he's kept it at $42 for the last couple of years. And other counties, other regional jails have been raising. But it's the medical part, I think, is what's hurting us. Well, just-
But if
go ahead, Donnie. What do you?
Well, while we're on this, can we use some of our inmates out of the jail to do mowing and stuff instead of the prisoners?
Most of the things that we have people for is a lot of pretrial stuff, so Morgan County pays a pretrial for the felonies. And then for the misdemeanors, I tend to try to make them pay for it, okay? That's kind of the negotiation. Hey, do you want to spend 60 days in jail or do you want to spend 30 but pay for 30, okay? So Morgan County is one of the only ones that we try to get some back from that, but no, you don't want to get into sending them out to do stuff because as we know from the prison, they, you got to pay liability, you got to pay guards, you got to pay stuff. So it ends up being really kind of expensive. Plus, that's for people that's already been convicted. A lot of the people that we're paying $37,000 a month for, they're not convicted yet.
Did we get that contract back?
You can't really do stuff to people that aren't convicted yet. You know.
We had, just for your knowledge, me and Nathan Bowman went up there and we renegotiated the contract with the prison. It's still, I think it's still they're looking at it at DOC, but henceforth, Nathan and Anthony Pack will be able to take the prisoners out. They both had the training, they're ready to go. We're just waiting on DOC's final approval. And once we get that, then our guys will be taking them. We won't be paying for those guards. Right now, those guards cost us, what, $216 a day?
200.
200?
Inmate.
Oh, and the inmates are $16. Whole thing's $216. And we're getting agreements with the other taxing districts, so like the extension office, and they're going to take their share in that too. They'll go work for them, but then they'll pay us, and then we'll pay the prison.
But if you have any other questions on the jail budget, I don't think we have to have a motion on that. We just need it documented in the minutes that the jail budget was presented to the court. And we'll submit this to DLG before April the 1st to stay in compliance.
Okay, next up, a review of WEX billing statement. Sheena, you got that too?
Yeah,
All right.
last thing. Okay, number 9 is review of our WEX billing statement. Vicki has uploaded our WEX fuel statement. This is our fleet fuel bill. It tells in detail each employee, their fuel per gallon and price on all of those. The next one, she has uploaded a fuel log, and this tells by department how many gallon and the cost for each one and each employee per month. And we will just need to ratify those prior period expenditures for our WEX billing. If you have any questions, just let me know.
I make a motion to ratify prior period expenditures for WEX.
No, I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor to ratify prior period expenditures for WEX, and properly seconded. Any questions from the court? There being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
I was wanting to say one thing. The Elon, the credit card bill that's usually on there every meeting, it's on the vendor claims. We had a few things on there that wasn't on standing order, so Vicki went ahead and put them on the vendor claims. So if you want to go through there, that has not been submitted for payment, so it'll be on the vendor claims and pending approval. You all can review those on the vendor claims. Just wanted to let y'all know that's why it wasn't included in the usual line item.
Okay, judges report. Don't have much tonight. You already heard what I just said about the prison. We renegotiated that contract. April 29th, I do have the the Director of Business Development coming in from the Cabinet for Economic Development to look around the county and make recommendations and look to see what kind of businesses we could develop here in the county. So I'll be touring him around on the 29th of April. The Wellness Center, I'll meet tomorrow with Summit Architecture and Engineering to finish that up, and we found a company to come in and fix the goals, line everything up, and get that started, as well as what me and Eric talked about, pushing that the gymnasium, the gym, moving that stuff over the corner and making it more kid friendly up there, putting a playpen up there for them, where the mothers can watch the kids up there while they walk. And so that'll be starting out tomorrow. We'll have a meeting with Gateway Ad about that. We'll also be talking about the splash pad tomorrow. The one that was splash pad came up in the last administration. We do have a $250,000 payment on that ourselves, so pay half of it. And we've already been working on it. They tend to break ground here pretty soon, and I asked for it to be up by July 4th, ready to go. The other thing, I know there's a lot of talk, rumors about my health. I was not admitted to the hospital last night. I had a regular chemo day. I did have my first adverse reaction to the steroid. Doctor at the ER said it's kind of like a monster. And my blood sugar shot up yesterday, so they took me over to the ER. They didn't have the facilities at the oncology lab, so they took me over there for observation. I stayed there till about 10 o'clock, and they sent me home. And they pumped 2 liters of saline into me, 20 units of insulin, which I'm not on insulin. And then I was up last night about every 15 minutes going to the bathroom, so I got no sleep, thanks to all that saline and the gallons of water I drank. So that's what's going on with me. Everything else has been going fine. I was back to work today. Everything's back to normal. So that's all I got. Anybody got any questions for me about any other thing? All right, moving along. Roads update. You got the floor, sir. I know you've been looking forward to this. Eric, you may have to show him how to operate that.
Doo-doo.
No.
Oh, he's good. Okay, we use 314 gallon of gas, 1,054 gallon of diesel. And you'll see there on the paperwork, jobs have been completed. Turn off the next page and see which ones that we gotta fix. And you can see the amount of rock we used for the month and how much we bought. It breaks it down into every size of rock we got. And we bought 75 ton of salt. And our steel was drilled on Lick Branch. It's done.
Lick Branch is done now?
Yeah.
All right, we did emergency road work on Lick Branch.
Yeah.
So we still gotta pull the ditches before we go in there and blacktop.
Yeah, we still got to pull the ditches.
All right. Yeah, I would like to get all that done before we lay that blacktop down.
And we've been working on some of the FEMA projects.
Right.
OSHA, we're working on that, taking training.
All right. Are we more, what we got left on OSHA? 2 months?
7th of April.
7? All right.
Yeah, on the training.
On the train?
Yeah.
All right.
That's about all I've got.
Got a question. I'm gonna talk to Andy. What I like to see on this jobs to be completed.
Yeah.
I'd like to start seeing dates, and she can do all this. Date it came in, the issue, who made it,
Oh, okay.
and in progress, what the status of it is. And so when you bring these reports to the court to see exactly what's going on in their districts.
Okay, that's no problem.
All right. And I've been talking to my magistrate about a pothole on my road. He ain't done nothing about it.
You ain't gonna say nothing about
He
it?
ain't said nothing about it.
We have some issues on Coomber or Ivy over in Ivy Lane and
Yeah.
places.
Yeah, and Ivy Lane was one of the roads that got picked for blacktop.
Okay.
By Richard White.
And,
Ivy Lane and Old 172.
What about Ryan Road?
He only picked 2. And it was Ivy Lane and Old 172. And I'm kind of grateful for Old 172 because that is one long road.
It's bad shape.
And it's in bad shape. Yeah, Cal Branch, he's really bad shape too. You name them all.
It's all,
Did they get the bridge on Roseberry Road? Did it go under FEMA?
yeah.
Yeah, we got two, oh, that's right, we got two bridges approved. We got the one over in Leroy's territory, Raymond Lumpkins and John Will started. They got that, they came out and looked at that and said it needed to be replaced. And the other one was the, what's the name of that?
Clarence Hopkins.
Clarence Hopkins, yeah, thank you.
And the Roseberry Bridge abutments come out from under it.
All right. So we can get on it too. He just wanted those two bridges done first, and then we can look at the rest of them under the 80-20 funding.
We're gonna try to get FEMA to do the Roseberry.
Oh, are you? All right.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a good one to do, yeah, with FEMA.
What about that one on Ward Creek, where it washes back out?
So yeah, I don't know if we can check, see if they'll fix it here or not.
So let's check. It doesn't hurt to ask.
Okay.
I mean, we had that was due to storm damage, so let's see if we can get it. And I don't care if it's a culvert, a bridge, or whatever, as many out there as we can get, and the federal government's going to still give us the money to fix it. Let's ask for it.
We'll ask on that. All right, that's all.
All right, thank you, Terry. Appreciate it. Applicant agent, your turn. Speaking of FEMA,
I have to use this thing. I guess I do.
yes, you do.
Yeah, we've not had, I just found out about Roseberry Road a few days ago, so I ran out there and got the GPS coordinates for that. I've left on your little spreadsheet here I gave you. I've left the cost out because I have no clue what that's gonna cost. Now, Ward Creek, was that a bridge project or a FEMA project?
It was worked on during the last money.
It was a FEMA project.
Yeah, that was a FEMA project.
It was,
Are you talking about the one in front of your house that we done?
Yeah, it's right there in front of his house.
It washed it out all under the sidewalk, and they came in, and I don't know, the only thing they done was put down felt and then put rock on it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that ain't gonna hold.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole foundation, around that foundation was washed out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it done it again.
Well, I guess I could try to add it to this. We've got 60 days. I'm sure I'll find more. The little update here.
It's helpful if the public lets us know stuff that they've seen too. You know?
Yeah. I passed out. I'm currently working on the flood, the 4860 that happened February the 14th. And this is the list of stuff that I have that's been brought to my attention. Okay, if we need to add things, just let me know and we'll look at it like the judge said.
Okay.
Those costs there that I've included is based on the preliminary damage assessment that FEMA done when they came out early on, just to meet the threshold for the declaration. So those numbers could go up or down.
Okay.
And I have 60 days to update this damage inventory and to schedule site inspections from FEMA 60 days from April 15th. So we've got some time. I had 3 calls for individual assistance. This declaration did not include any type of individual assistance.
Right.
So I hated to, hear that, but we didn't have the damage. A big thing is the snow and ice storm. There's currently no declaration for that. They've told me for months it's on the president's desk.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
And
We
they
do
also
have a
told us
lot
that-
of debris damage there.
Yeah, we have a lot of debris damage there. All
Yeah.
those trees, so 970 trees now.
Yeah.
They've also said that what they have said though, anything that was damaged in that and carried over to the next storm, they backtracked on that?
No, that's not happened. I just went to training. No, and I asked that question.
Okay.
4848 was a September Helene flood. I'm hopefully going to submit the remaining paperwork tomorrow. That's 100% complete. We should receive around $40,000 in forced labor and equipment. Our road crew done that themselves. There's a list of the 25 funding that we have received. Of course, that goes back 4 or 5 years ago to administrative cost and just couple PWs there.
Okay.
Okay?
Anything else?
Any questions?
Any questions from the court? There being none? We're dismissed.
Thank you.
You know, use my mic to hear that. Okay. Board appointments. This has to do, give you a little background here on what's going on. We've been in mediation with what was it, the brick masons?
Oh,
Yeah.
the real property.
Yeah, the real property.
The people that did the masonry
Yeah.
for, the wellness center.
Yeah, we've been in a lawsuit with that. They brought us into it. Me and Steve O'Connor, who was the lawyer hired under the Real Properties Board and during the Franklin administration. That's been going on that long. I went down, me and Steve O'Connor, our attorney, and we mediated that. They started out asking for $140,000. I refused to move on that. I offered $5,000. We finally initially settled on $32,500, I believe, something like that. And so, but to get this done, the license administration dissolved the Real Properties Board. So we therefore have to resurrect the Real Properties Board. And so we can go ahead and transfer those funds. We have money, we've not touched it. We put it in, we got some money back on that. We put that in there to save it for just in case this lawsuit under the recommendation of the county attorney, and that was a good call. But now we can get that money out as long as we pay off the mediation fee and the bill we owe Mr. O'Connor. So tonight, what I want to do, I'm not going to swear you guys in tonight because we got a lot going on, but I'd like to get a vote to approve the appointment of Eric Guffrey, Donnie Keaton, what's your name again? Oh, Tommy.
Yeah.
That's my magistrate, by the way. Tommy Fannin and myself, they were here the night we had that vote and we did all that, so that's how they got picked. So I'd like to entertain a motion for those board appointments.
I'll make a motion to approve the Real Properties One Board.
The resurrection.
Do what?
The resurrection of Real Properties.
Yeah.
Can you get a second?
Can we do it?
Can the ones we appoint do it?
Yeah, I mean, if not, you're not gonna have a quorum, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll second it.
All right. Motion on the floor, properly seconded by the by the court to resurrect and bring back the Real Properties One Board. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
And you can do that because you're all not personally getting anything. You're just fulfilling the board appointment.
And the board will probably meet once, maybe twice, and then we'll dissolve it once we get this settled. Property use agreement. So that's for me to do. Approval of the property use agreement between the Morgan County Fiscal Court and the Morgan County School Board, giving the county access to the walking track at Joe Stacy Recreational Complex as needed. So we need a motion to continue that and get that. Of course, you can see the recommended motion down below that. But that be nice to keep that walking track so we can use that.
I'll make a motion that we approve this property agreement between the Morgan County Fiscal Court and the Morgan County School Board.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor, properly second, for the approval of the property use agreement between the Morgan County Fiscal Court and the Morgan County School Board, giving county access to the walking track at Joe Stacy Recreational Complex. Questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Leisure Paragon Survey, is Mr. Curd here tonight?
I am.
Oh, where's he? Joe, if you can come up. Some of the disputes down there, like the court to talk about doing a survey down there so we can make sure that everything is right on both sides. And if you'd be willing to do that survey, if the court would approve it.
Yes, and I think you and I have talked about that.
Yeah.
and, looked at some of the deeds, but really not enough to know a whole lot quite yet.
Yeah. I think that's one of the best ways we can to solve this is to get a survey done and have you do it and go by the deeds. Is the court willing to approve this?
I'll make a motion to,
I got a question. I'd like to ask how much a survey would cost, and who's gonna cover that, or what funds are gonna cover that?
We'll have to work that out. And
I need to look at it closer.
we need to look at it. We're just giving approval now to start looking at it, and we'll go from there. Mr. Todd, you got a,
No, that's fair. I don't have any problems with that as long
Okay.
as it's, reasonable, my people can talk.
no, they can talk.
When we get down to our agenda, I'll talk.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
So
Yeah, I'll develop a scope of work and cost for that. And
you want to do the motion tonight, or you want to wait? Miles, should we do the motion tonight, or should
I mean,
we
you
wait?
could do, I mean, we know that we have the 66 feet. We know where 10 of the feet's at, okay? The other 56 feet, there's structures on and there's barriers to that. So, I mean, yeah, I've talked to Mr. Todd about that. I would like to find the other 56 feet and to know exactly where this is at. I mean, I think that, we paid a lot of money for it in 1935. It's an asset that Morgan County needs to protect. And the first thing about protecting your property is knowing where that property is at. So, yeah, I mean, it's my advice that we do this.
So we can do a motion. Oh, Mr. Todd, you want to?
Point of order, is it a meets and bounds description or is it just access easement?
It's not an easement, it's MTD
Okay.
to the county.
Does it actually give the meets and bounds in the description or?
No, it does not.
How you gonna survey that?
Well, there's a way to do that. We've done railroads before that exist.
Oh, I understand. I'm just saying the cost issue, if you have to get other deeds and just, map them all out. It'll take you quite
There's
a
a while. process to go through to do it.
Okay,
Well, maybe tonight just do a motion to do a scope.
there you go.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that. That's fine.
Well, I mean, you don't. Let's
Go
be very clear, okay?
Okay.
Morgan County doesn't need anybody's permission to do a survey of our property.
Right.
So, I mean, and I know we're gonna hear from the other side,
Yeah.
but,
We're not.
I mean, we have a right to do a survey.
Yeah, well, we have the right to do it.
Absolutely. We don't disagree with that at all.
No.
We're just trying to anticipate, you're gonna have to traverse some of the property and then maybe some issues about where the line exists. And I'm trying to get a scope of what the whole project will entail, that's all.
Well, it'll result in a map,
Oh, I'm sure. Fine.
a plat survey.
Okay. That's fine.
And typically with something like this, will be a survey report.
Are you comfortable with this doing the survey?
Narrative document.
You made we have a motion on the floor?
make a motion to have a survey.
I got another question. I just want to know, like, the length.
When we come to the questions and discussion, then you can talk.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion on the floor, Smith property second, for approval of a survey, at the Leisure Peregrine Road. Is there any questions or discussion?
I just was curious of the length. The length of the survey, is it gonna be a small section or the entire length?
It'll be the entire length. Is that the only question?
My other question is that expense going to be shared with the public at the fiscal meeting?
Yes.
This is all freedom of information. If the Morgan County spends a dime on it, then you will know.
It'll be on the next budget report, just like you saw tonight. And you can come in and ask for it too. If you ask for it, we'll send it to you. Yeah. It's all public information. So we have a motion on the floor. It's been properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Second with that.
I did.
Thanks.
All right, moving along, ratify paid vendor claims.
Okay, those are the vendor claims that have been paid, like standing order of payroll, since the last meeting.
I'll make a motion to ratify the paid vendor claims.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion on the floor, it's been properly second, to ratify paid vendor claims. Questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Approve unpaid vendor claims?
These are the vendor claims that we currently have that are unpaid that we're obligated to pay. We have two sets of vendor claims. We'll need to approve those if you choose to do so in two separate motions.
Your mic's covered up. Vicky. There you go. That's what you guys were, what?
Sorry, Vicky.
We have two sets of vendor claims A and vendor claims B. We will need two separate motions on those. I think they're both labeled B, but when you'll look at them, you'll see the difference.
Yeah, vendors claims A and, well, we got both, well, it's A on the motions, it's B on the attachments. So we need two.
Also, as Sheena pointed out, the Elon credit card expenditures are on the actual vendor claims this time. If you want to pay any particular attention to those, they're all under the Elon financial vendor.
I'll make a motion to approve payment for vendor claims A.
All right, we'll get in a second.
I'll second it.
We have a motion on the floor, properly second, to approve unpaid vendor claims A. Questions or discussion? There being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Anyone for B now?
I'll make a motion to approve vendor claims B.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor, been properly second, to approve unpaid vendor claims B. Questions or discussion? There being none, all in favor? Opposed?
Stay.
No. Thanks.
It's fast, huh?
I was moving fast on that one. Yeah. All right, next up, Ms. Davis. Floor is yours. Miles, you'll be handling this part with Mr. Todd. And if this is possible, we have an attorney here. I think my best for Miles to handle this conversation.
I'll be very short. I know you're glad to hear that. I want to say first, my name's Don Todd. I'm from Lexington, and I've been involved in these things for a long time. I served on our city council for 10 years as an assistant county attorney, and I've been to zone change hearings at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I understand. I want to say thank you for you giving her the opportunity to express her position. That's really important. And Miles was really nice to me on the phone the other day. We talked, and I got an idea of what this case was about. And it's always good when you're doing due diligence to get all the facts so you can figure out where you are. When I first was introduced to Ms. Davis, I thought, well, I have a firebrand here. I've got somebody who's really fired up about this issue, and we're going to go to the wall. But after I talked with her for a while, she's a really nice lady, well educated. She's a registered nurse. More importantly, she's a surgical, cardiothoracic surgical nurse. So when they're doing bypasses or when they're doing open heart surgeries, she's right there with the surgeon. So this gal has some wits about her. She just feels, I guess, emotional about this question. So after I talked with her, I was able to distill down the facts, and I think it's a reasonable suggestion. This case is a balance of the interest test of what's fair for you as a county and what may be fair for her as an individual. And if we can reach an accord on that, that'd be great. She's owned this property for 7 years. And she's just looking for quiet, useful enjoyment. I convinced her and told her that this road is the county's road. You own it. You can do whatever the heck you want with it, within certain confines. and she understands that. But her concern is, are they all trained vehicles? These ATVs roll past her house at 2 o'clock in the morning, raising canes, beer cans being thrown every which way, people shooting guns off, and it's concerning to her. And so she would like to curtail that activity. She understands and agrees that the public has the right of way. I mean, they can go, they can hike, they can ride horses, they can take bikes, you can do all that. It's the ATVs that are causing her the difficulty. And that's what she wants to curtail. And then I took the opportunity to get in touch with the forestry people, and I got a copy of their land use resource management plan, which I got a copy for you. And I also talked with them, and more or less they told me, and I'll read you the email that they sent me yesterday, or sent us yesterday. They say, I want to thank you for your interest in the Daniel Boone National Forest. Unfortunately, we will not be able to attend the upcoming meeting, which they're mentioning tonight. I've included information regarding OHVs and motor vehicles used on the Daniel Boone National Forest. There are no legal off-road trails in the Leisure Branch area, nor have I received any proposals to build motorized trails in the area of Leisure Branch. I also have not received any requests from local officials to meet on this topic, and I hope this is helpful. Please share this information if you will. So, you know, I want to give the clerk or whomever it is as the keeper of the record.
Clerk, over here.
Oh, okay. There you go. You stand out on these guys. Thank you. Just want to give you a copy of that so that you can refer to it. If anyone's concerned about abridging rights of citizens to use this, you know, there's your support, there's your authorization, and there's your research. So I'm going to let Darcy speak, Ms. Davis speak. She wants to tell you a little bit about the issues that she's had, and hopefully you'll give her a favorable ear and at least take some steps to remedy that question. I understand the road's partially closed at this point pending your survey, etc. Thank you for that. And I told her she got to work with you, okay? And her people have to work with you. But at the same time, I told them you in turn would be receptive to her needs as well. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you for the opportunity.
I'm going to stand here with her just to kind of keep her in control if she gets wild on me. Go ahead.
Is this on? Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. It'll be about 5 minutes, if you can just hang with me. My name is Darcy, and I'm a private homeowner on Leisure Branch Road. I want to tell you of my experiences and ask for your understanding. I'm here to plead for my safety and for the protection of my home. This decision affects not only me, but the surrounding community and the future of the National Forest. I ask that you hear me out with fairness and open minds. Since owning the property, my family and I lived in constant distress. We've been forced to combat relentless criminal activity before the installation of the Forest Service Gate that was installed in 2022, preventing mechanized use. We had dealt with daily trespassing and property damage, reckless shooting, constant dumping, vandalism, threats, and drug-related activity right outside our home. We removed hundreds of bags of trash, including mattresses, tires, stripped wire, drug paraphernalia, thousands of bullet casings. We watched our land and the surrounding forest suffer constant environmental damage, especially near the cool water streams and sensitive riparian areas. We constantly contacted authorities asking for help, and still it continued. The danger, the destruction, the threats were never ending. During all hours of the night, we would deal with dozens of ATVs just 70 feet from our front door, revving and partying in front of our home, bullets fired down the road all hours of the night, and strangers trespassing throughout our property despite all of the posted private property signs. Our security cameras constantly were getting destroyed. When this problematic road that leads to nowhere is open to vehicles, we are not able to live safely and we are constantly in survival mode. No family should have to live this way unnecessarily. Some may see my request as personal, but this is far bigger than me. I have never had any desire to stop the public from accessing the forest. This is about protecting a vulnerable area from continued misuse, preserving public safety, and ensuring county resources are used responsibly. Reopening or maintaining this road doesn't solve a problem, it creates it. It will only guarantee the return of the dangerous chaos we endured for years. until protections were finally put in place, only to now be at risk of being stripped away. I want to be clear. We fully support public, non-motorized access through this road, including hiking, biking, and horseback riding. The problem is the return of unauthorized motorized vehicles. The crime and destruction we've experienced are directly and undeniably tied to mechanized use and is simply untenable. This road no longer serves the community in a practical way. It provides access to no other homes or public services. All it offers is a pathway for lawlessness and danger, and for us, for the community, and for the Forest Service, who have already made clear that they lack the resources to monitor it and do not support motorized traffic in their part of the forest. Beyond that, there is the road's condition itself, because this isn't just about the first ravine that's being focused on. The entire length of the road is hazardous. Just a few hundred feet past the first washout, the road is completely eroded into the river. This all happened just this past year in the last flood. About a half mile further, there's a larger stream crossing that's impassable and environmentally sensitive, and it's an area that's often studied by Fish and Wildlife. To get around this impassable area, the road has been entirely rerouted by the ATVs, carving illegal paths through Forest Service land, further damaging protected ground. The remaining stretch continues to deteriorate, with multiple creek crossings, erosion, natural springs that make the road unstable and dangerous. By the time you reach the third washout creek ravine, there is no evidence to where the road even used to be. It's mostly swamp. If ATV traffic returns, any hope of safe, peaceful recreation is gone. The terrain becomes so damaged and rutted, it's unsafe to even walk. Hikers and horseback riders won't be able to enjoy the area without risking injury. There's mention of this being in the county's Red River Gorge, so why would we not want to preserve it and make it safe? Red River Gorge does not permit any ATV use in the park. The purpose of the National Forest is to preserve nature and provide a space for the public to enjoy through pedestrian use. Morgan County does not have any hiking trails. While unregulated ATV trails would benefit many around the surrounding area, hiking trails can benefit everyone in the county and can truly promote safe tourism. I would like someone to explain to me why that would not be the most feasible, reasonable, safe solution for the county and for the community. The truth is, bringing this road up to even a minimal safety standards is simply not feasible. The cost to rebuild it would be enormous, and that's without accounting for the annual damage caused by frequent flooding and ATV destruction. It would be a never-ending expense, a continuous liability with no benefit. Reopening this road would create nothing but a burden, a money pit, a serious legal liability, and a long-term headache for the fiscal court, the county, and the Forest Service. There is also no ability to patrol its length. The risk only multiplies. So my ask for the fiscal court is to discontinue Leisure Branch Road from the county road system, to allow this road to remain a pedestrian access only into the National Forest, serving as a safe, beautiful hiking trail, allowing the Forest Service gate to remain and be closed. I'm sorry I had to read all that, just otherwise it's kind of hard to follow myself. My biggest concern here is that I don't quite understand how you recognize that it's such a beautiful area and you want everyone to enjoy it. But what's not recognized is that ATVs make it so no one can hike, no one can go horseback riding, no one can go biking. And that's when all the criminal activity comes, all the dumping, all the shooting, and it can't be regulated. I tried for years and years. There was no way around it. We've never wanted to control the road in any way. We simply don't want vehicles because they simply ruin our life. It is unlivable. We tried for years and years and years. Finally, the Forest Service stepped in. We got some help that we needed. It was absolutely amazing. For 2 years, we saw all kinds of hikers, horseback riders that never came before. And then to imagine our lives going back how it was before, I mean, we were ready to sell before we were able to get that help. And it's really sad because we've spent so many years of our life trying to clean up that forest and trying to help transform it so that we can see nature come back, which it has. The road has healed tremendously the past 2 years that gate was closed. So it's beyond heartbreaking to me to just imagine it returning to all the ATV use, because it's nothing but destruction. It is a huge mud pit every 10 feet that entire length of the road. And I do have a hard time seeing the other side. I get that they miss riding back there. But if you ride back there, you can't hike. There comes all your dangers, all your problems, all the constant resources and money. It's just, to me, it's not a feasible solution. And you would think most homeowners in my situation, just as my first attorney I had before he had to retire due to health, he's like, why would you not want to shut this road down completely? Why do you want public pedestrians? It's because me personally, I have no interest in stopping people from accessing the forest. I love seeing that. And I just want to be able to live there safely. And I know no matter what kind of promises someone might make, saying that's going to be controlled, because I've had all those promises before, it's not livable with the vehicle traffic. I want to see the hikers, I want to see the horseback riders. For 2 years, they didn't cause any trouble at all. I never claimed to own the road. I just don't want motorized vehicles. It doesn't go anywhere. So if you guys could please consider discontinuing the road, whatever that might mean, as far as your paperwork goes. I just do not want mechanized vehicles. I am incredibly happy and supportive of a permanent pedestrian easement forever. Horseback, bicycles. Every interaction I've ever had with anyone on foot has been wonderful. You wouldn't believe the amount of hunters that would come and park at the end of the road because there's a parking area. I just want to find a way to find common ground, to not fight with everyone. I want everyone to be happy, but I want to be able to live there. And I cannot live there how it was before. I simply can't. So I'm asking the fiscal court to discontinue the road, and we can keep a continuous public easement for pedestrian. I just want to be able to live my life.
Thank you all very much for sharing.
Thank you very much.
So my reply, I'm glad that Mr. Todd actually joined the situation. I've worked with Mr. Todd and Todd a time or two before, and so sometimes that helps us understand what the issues are a little bit better instead of relying upon emotions. I'm very thankful for Mr. Todd. He said 2 or 3 times that it's our land, we can do with it what we want to. You heard Mrs. Davis say that she recognizes our deed, so it's there. I believe that they are asking for accommodations, so I'll try to move towards that issue. So what I've kind of explained, to Mr. Todd is that, people in New York City, listen, they would view where Mr. Todd lives as being in the middle of nowhere. You live in downtown Lexington, that's the middle of nowhere, okay? People in Lexington, they think about us, and they probably think we live in the middle of nowhere. West Liberty, where is that? I always say halfway between Lexington and Huntington, West Virginia, and that's about as good as I can get. The situation is that Ms. Davis, she moved to a place where people in West Liberty would think that is pretty much the middle of nowhere. Okay, this is you're abutting a national forest. You don't really have neighbors. That's kind of the boonies. Even the people like us that live in the boonies, that's kind of the boonies to us. Okay, so when you move to that place, you have to accept kind of where you're moving to. Okay, if you want street lights and you want the police to be there in 5 minutes, you move to West Liberty. You move to the, Wells Hill Apartments, or you get you a place here in town. And then when you call, they might be able to get to you. I know a lot of people here and out in the audience, we live in an area that if you call the sheriff or you call state police, it's liable to be 30, 45 minutes before they get to you. Okay, that's the realities of where we live. Okay, so while I understand that Ms. Davis has worries and situations, that's where she chose to live. Okay, Morgan County has been there for about 85 years. We were there 85 years. That's 78 years longer than Ms. Davis was there. Miss Davis knew that there was a road, and Miss Davis decided, I want to go and I want to live there next to this county road, and I want to live out in the middle of nowhere where it's beautiful and I don't have anybody bother me. I understand that's kind of where I would pick If I was choosing somewhere from far off, okay, I mean that's what makes us us, okay. The ask, I believe here is the problem, okay. So when you say you want non-motorized vehicles to be in this area, that's not really what she's asking for. She's asking for her to be able to drive there, and nobody else to be able to drive on this lane. That is the problem. I've got to say that not only as a prosecutor, but as a person that protects the assets of Morgan County, we can't have some people's allowed to have their own personal driveways and some people aren't. Okay, if one person in our community has access to an area, then everybody should have access to that area. So when you say, hey, let's shut this down, let me be able to drive there, I don't think that's legal. I don't think that even if you say, let's discontinue the road like we did earlier with Conley Branch, well, this is still Morgan County property. This isn't an easement, okay? So if it's still Morgan County property, then saying certain people can't be there and other certain people can, that goes against the due process protections of the 14th Amendment, okay? Last but not least, I've got another 17 things I'd like to say here, but they've been said ad nauseum, so I'm gonna give up on that.
Give me 2 seconds in rebuttal.
Okay, for sure.
I've represented the rural county, Fayette County. I represent all the horse farms, and we have the same issues as you have. It's not a question of her having a driveway and denying it to everyone else. That's not the point at all. It's a roadway. You have the right to make that decision. But your property only exists for a period of maybe a quarter mile till you get back to the boundary line for the Forestry Service. So you're dealing in essence with a quarter mile. Now some people say, well, we still own the right of way in the forestry lands. You may or may not. I'm not going to argue that point. But the Forestry Service has an overriding, jurisdiction on what goes on from that point forward. So if you want to expend funds for what amounts to 4/10 of a mile, either in bringing the road up to standards, complying with all the easements, because this property is in a prescriptive area. It's not on forestry land per se, it's in a prescriptive area. There's an overlay, zoning overlay, that the Forestry Service can dictate what kinds of things you can build next to their forestry lands. You can't build a high-rise hotel next to forestry boundaries. So that federal government has those restrictions. And that's something I'm trying to bring to your attention. This is just not a question of a roadway. There are a lot of factors here. The ATVs are the issue, not cars. Okay? ATVs are the issue. They're destructive. They're fun. There's no question. They're fun, but they're destructive to the land. And there are a lot of people who've driven back there on that road and then they detoured onto her property, on the forestry land property, and at some point that's going to be an issue. So those are her interests, and I think they're fair. She's not asking you to deny people access. She's just saying keep these particular type of vehicles off the road who historically have shown they've damaged my property, they've damaged the forestry land property, and at some point in time there'll be a confrontation. And do you want to expend all those funds and potentially buy a federal lawsuit? I don't know what would happen.
Well, I mean, if we do expend those funds, that's up to us. If the federal government wants to come after us, that's up to us. That's up to them. You know what I'm saying?
Dispute that.
Okay.
I don't dispute that at all. But in your position, you have a fiduciary responsibility to look out for the taxpayers' money and expend it in a wise and reasonable way. And is it better for you to spend money on some of your recreational facilities or other areas as opposed to this? And that's your all's decision. And that's why you're there. It's a tough job. Thank you.
I appreciate it, Mr. Todd, and thank you for clarifying a lot of things. Morgan County, we did spend a lot of money for this area back in 1935. Yes, it would take a lot more money to improve. Is that something we want to do? That's up to you all. I'm saying it's up to you all. Mr. Todd's saying it's up to you all. So let's all keep that in mind. I will say one other thing before I'll leave the floor here. With that said, and I do believe that the county does have a right to say no ATVs on this road, just like it has a right to say no ATVs on other county roads. Okay. what we can't do is say you can be on a road with your vehicle and drive up to your house and somebody else can't, which I think Mr. Todd has acknowledged that that's the truth. Okay. One final thing, I think the sheriff had touched on it last time, that he wouldn't be prosecuting people for trespassing in this area, and I think I've tried to expound on what he has said. So the railroads had it before we did. It was used for a long time. Evidently, Morgan County used this area before it came into kind of disuse. Okay. People throughout the decades have used this area, including, the 400 and some people that have signed a petition to say that, hey, we want access to this area. As a prosecutor, this is outside of fiscal court. Okay, I was voted in by Morgan County to do what I think is right when it regards the justice system. If you're back there and you're littering, you're back there and you're causing Mrs. Davis's property to be either trespassed or damaged, you're back there doing illegal stuff, I'll prosecute you. Okay, but if you're on Morgan County land and you're not doing anything wrong, I don't care what anybody else says, you will not be prosecuted by me. That's my decision. That's not anybody else's decision. Okay, that's not a fiscal court decision. That's not a Commonwealth attorney's decision. Trespassing is usually a misdemeanor, so that is decided by me. And I'm not going to tell somebody that's taken, who their grandfather took them there to hunt, and who, took their grandkids or whatever. I'm not going to tell people it's been going somewhere 50, 60 years that they can't be in a place that's owned by Morgan County. So just so you know, I understand that currently we have a no through traffic prohibition there. Okay, so you can't go through unless you're not there, and that helps Mrs. Davis out currently. But I mean, once this road is fixed and access, becomes a little bit, better and safer for the public. If people are down there and they're just down there and they're not causing anybody trouble, I will not prosecute, even if they're charged, even if the state police charges them, even if the Forestry Service or the wildlife, if the county it doesn't matter. I'm not going to prosecute them. If they are damaging your property, littering, anything else, then of course I'm going to stop that, because I'm a big conservation guy myself, and I don't want us abusing what we have. But that's where I stand. I think we're in agreement. I'm glad that you got a good attorney who's telling you the right things. Okay, I believe I'm telling you all the right things. Okay, this is a political decision. You can accommodate Miss Davis, or you can go full steam ahead. But in the end, it is up to you all, and don't be scared by threats. Okay, do what is right, what you all think is right. That's why you all got elected.
May I speak again, please? If you guys could make me understand why a hiking trail.
Hey, here's back in.
Can you hear me now? Okay. I really want to understand why you think a hiking trail is not in the best interest of the county. This is a very well-known high crime area. There's many people in the area that know that aren't interested in using it for ATVs. And the amount of resources it's going to take to fix this road that is extremely problematic, I don't understand how anyone would think a hiking trail was not in the best interest of the county. There's no hiking trails in Morgan County. You want to promote tourism. You can't have an unregulated ATV trail with all the damage and promote tourism. It doesn't. I want to fully understand that. Because Miles, you said over and over again when I wasn't here in previous meetings that this is like your Red River Gorge. Red River Gorge does not allow ATVs for a reason. So if you allow all these ATVs and all this constant crime, I mean, they would set up targets and shoot down the road all the time. So if I was walking or running down the road, that's easily a fatality. And it's not about you prosecuting these people, because it's literally an everyday occurrence in nice weather. Like, it's no joke. It is so untenable for any homeowner. So like, if this is open to motor vehicles, because I lived through it for 4 years before the gate, I have to sell my property. I can't live there. And I know there's people that may want to hear that so that they can reopen the road. But I don't understand why we can't come to the compromise of allowing public access by pedestrians so it can be preserved, minimal funding, and then you can bring the tourism in. I mean, I would even donate footbridges. I can't quite understand why you would choose unregulated ATVs over hiking entirely. The Forest Service doesn't want it. The homeowner doesn't want it. I don't want access. You talk about only me having access to my vehicles. I only do it to my home. And if that was the deciding factor, I'll park down by the roundabout for the rest of my life. I just cannot live with these motorized vehicles.
Well, what about the handicapped people that wants to go down in there and fish? You gonna tell them the two ladies that's here wheel their chair down through there?
Look, 15-foot deep.
Are you gonna do that? Or are you gonna deny them to take it and say, no, you cannot go?
Actually, I might correct you. I was down there the other day, she probably got me on the camera.
Yep.
I like the camera wall, it is a pretty area. I grew up horse riding, ATV riding, I've walked the Kentucky Division Forestry, I've been all over that. There's no damage been done by an ATV going down there. And these older people that do travel that, and take their grandchildren to their fishing, that's history. They all probably work there.
No one is objecting to you going down there fishing. No, yes. And I got photographs and I've well, on the basement. I got photographs to show the ATVs. It's not the ATVs. They don't want traffic. No. What they keep saying, ATVs. Okay, that's illegal. Traffic down there. Okay.
You just start recognizing it.
It's
crazy.
Oh, let's have some order. Order.
And he intimidated me,
Order.
Listen, everybody, you gotta talk one at a time.
One at a time. You come and get the microphone and talk. If you want to address the court, please raise your hand to come and address the court. We have a gentleman back here. Will you give him the microphone, please?
She says a lot of vandalism and the shop's been fired. Has Greg Motley got any record of all this? Have you got any record of that?
I've been paying attention to this area for about 6 months now. Okay, I haven't seen any charges brought or any complaints even brought from this area. I'm not trying to I'm not going to downplay somewhere where I'm not at. Okay.
If you're going to say it, you should have a proof if something like that went on. I mean, don't sit there and just say it to be the same.
May I speak again, please? We do have a lot of photo evidence. We did call in multiple times to the Forest Service and to the police station.
Thank you.
There are many reports that were not made, and I understand that their system works in a way that I may not have done it properly through 911, and I called their office instead. I was made aware of that. But we do have a lot of evidence. I have dozens and dozens of emails with the U.S. Forest Service from starting at 3 months after I purchased the place. I understand no one's been prosecuted. It's kind of a, like I said before, an untenable situation when it's stuff that happens every single day. We got to the point that, I understand, but the sheriff's office got sick of us calling to the point where they didn't even come out anymore.
Hold on, everybody get their chance.
What was this now? I'm the sheriff. So what did you say? I wasn't killing that
No, don't create controversy. Let me give you a suggestion.
Sir, excuse me.
No, I've got the floor. You can come up here next and get it after me.
Don't talk down to me. She brought me out of this.
No one said anything adverse to you.
But here's the thing, and you can finish, but here's the thing. If I haven't seen any evidence of any crimes being committed yet. Now, I've met with you, I've been with you, I've been with you. If you all got something, we'll meet with Miles. That's all I can tell you.
I think that's a good idea, and I was going to suggest that it's a solution. It's a problem that you all can't solve immediately. How about a little subcommittee of those folks, her, meeting in a mediation setting and trying to figure out a way to make this thing work so they can bring it back to you with consensus. That's the way I'd look at trying to resolve the problem. They're standing there shouting at us. We want to shout at them. Y'all don't want in the middle of it. Let's figure out a way to make it work.
Miles? No. Isn't the first thing to do is do this survey and then go from there?
Yeah, I mean, so I think we know where 10 feet's at, so we can treat the
we
10
need to
feet like
define
it's
the
ours.
property.
There's another 56 feet we gotta find. Usually, listen, as an attorney, you're an attorney, you know what I'm talking about, okay? You try to bring these two sides together, okay? You know, you try to, everybody usually, in a good decision, somebody's giving up something, and I understand that. But the give here is that you've taken 56 feet, you want the last 10, but you don't want us to use the last 10. I mean, what is the give? What do we get?
We're not contesting that. That 66 feet is yours. If it's in the deed, it's yours. We're not arguing that.
I do contest that, just
Well,
because it hasn't been proven, but.
Thank you.
Well, she's reserving that argument if
Until
the survey.
it's proven with a 100-year-old title.
Well, that's the practical thing to do. But if the survey is good, as you say it is, and I don't doubt you, then you've got the 66 feet. You can do what you want.
I have never
So
denied it.
at this point, you have a potential plaintiff who says they own 56 feet of Morgan County land. They're asking you for a favor that they can use the last 10 feet, but you all can, and nobody out there can, okay? That's what you're dealing with. Let me ask you. I would ask you individually, but I don't want to put everybody on the hot seat. If this was your all's land, if you had land and somebody said that they were taking your land, but can you do them a favor? What would you all do? What would you do? Mr. Todd, you have done an excellent job representing Miss Davis, but Miss Davis betrayed the situation when she's saying she owns 56 feet of our land. So that's what we're going to go fight for, and that's what Mr. Curd is going to survey, and I guarantee you this, Morgan County will get our 66 feet back.
Miles, you have the 66 feet. If the deed says we're not contesting.
Your own client is contesting.
She's
Mr.
reserving
Todd.
her right if the deed and survey don't.
That's what contesting means.
May I please speak?
Oh, hold on. What she's trying to ask you to do is, if the roadway is yours, you can do with it as you want. We're asking you to place restrictions. Just like you put coal truck restrictions on roads. Just like you put heavy equipment restrictions on roads. You put right-of-way easements. There's all kinds of issues. That's within your power and your discretion to do. She's not saying no one can use the road. She's just asking you to take the ATVs off because there's photographic evidence of the damage they're doing. And she's entitled to come before you and ask for that resolution. This is her only remedy.
Well, she's got another remedy, and that's to sue us, and that's what she's been saying she was going to do for 6 months now.
I didn't say that.
You have never said that. I completely said it.
I'm
her last attorney did.
Well,
I understand. None of this is on you. I have to give Morgan, just like you're telling her what the law is, I have to tell what the law is over here. And it's not even, I don't even have a vote. It's up to the fiscal court.
I do want to make clear, the only reason I had to threaten that is because after we had a meeting in September with the Forest Service, Mr. Gazay, and Mr. Fannin, and no one else was involved, the Forest Service gave their stance that they wanted it to remain non-mechanized. We were all very cordial. We thought we had an agreement, and we had another meeting coming up, and it was abruptly canceled, which is fine. I understand that happens. But then after then, we were not allowed to speak. It was not allowed to be discussed. I wasn't sure.
Do you know what I'm not going to ask you a question because you're a representative, but mechanized means to me that it has an engine. What's the difference? Yes, you can delineate an ATV and a vehicle, but you're asking for unauthorized, non-motorized vehicles. That's your vehicle.
ATVs are off-road.
But it says unauthorized, non-motorized. That's what you had said. So, are you asking? I can't get past the fact that if you drive there, other people get to drive there. Even if they believe differently, that it's not going to change that fact. Okay.
I do want to speak to the fiscal court that will be voting, and my argument to that is how the Forest Service regulates their land when they say unauthorized. Who they're referring to for the authorized is any authorities, whether it's the police, whether it's Fish and Wildlife, whether it's the Forest Service, and if there is a private homeowner, they can access their property.
But we're a private homeowner. We own that land, just like you own your land.
The county, for any maintenance or any reason, would also be able to. The county for maintenance.
The county. Can you invite people to your land? Because we can invite people to our land. We can say our constituents can go there. That is actually what public land is.
Miles, I'm not here to argue with you. Because
I'm not here to argue either, but I want you
talk
to
the
understand.
fiscal court.
We can't say you're allowed to go there and nobody else.
Do you not discontinue all these other roads when there's 3 or less homes? Is it not the same situation, sir?
First of all, if we discontinued this road, it would still be Morgan County land. Unlike the Conley Branch easement, that is an easement, okay? This is, Morgan County owns this land, just like you own your land.
Miles, nobody's disputing that fact. You own it.
Well, you say you don't dispute it, but then you try to tell us what to do with it. We're not trying to tell you what to do with it.
Well, we're not trying to tell you, we're asking you to consider this question and rule on it. It's your decision. You can say, no, go away, Mr. Todd. We'll do it. Same point, we're asking you.
We agree on that. Mr. Todd is a good attorney. I agree with.
But we're also
almost
asking you to
everything he
consider her interest and the interest of the Forestry Service, which doesn't seem to be in play here at this point, and the cost to you and your citizens. And I think if you have a reasoned approach to this, you might say, let's try something temporary, and need be, we'll come back and revisit this issue.
Well, that's what we actually have there right now.
I agree.
Mrs. Davis is allowed to use a county road at this point, but Donnie's not allowed to use it now.
Donnie can use it all day long.
No, right now, we had a vote last month that said no through traffic. So Donnie can't be outside on that Morgan County land, but Mrs. Davis can.
No, Donnie can use that road all day long because it's not through. He's not going anywhere. He go down to where the forestry land starts, turn around and come back.
Sir,
I interpret no through traffic as people not coming down there and looking around. But you have a decent point, okay? What I'm saying is we basically put up signs and saying stay back until we fix this. We tried to accommodate Miss Davis. And there might be more accommodations. We talked about it, a few other things. But I've got to say, once the road gets fixed and some of this stuff gets done, there is a prohibition that says that we can't say you are allowed to drive there, but nobody else can.
To access my home.
Correct.
That I'll park a mile down the road. I don't care.
As I said,
here's the thing that I think everybody's missing. I know it's late and I don't want to take any more time. The Forestry Service is going to have a lot to say about this issue, and they're not in this discussion. They're going to tell you they do not allow ATVs on their land, period. I mean, it's right there in black and white. I gave it to the department. So how does that affect your decision? It's going to have a great impact.
There's the ATV thing, I think, is a side. Nobody said any ATV. I believe that Mrs. Darcy herself has requested records that says, where's all your records for the ATV? We don't have anything big planned. But we're also not going to say we're going to ban everything because this one particular person doesn't.
We're not asking you to ban everything, Miles. We're just saying keep the ATVs off, period. You can drive a car down there. You can drive a tractor down there. You won't be able to go on Forestry Service land ultimately.
I have a little bit of disagreement with county-owned land that goes through the Forestry Service, but we for the most part agree there.
All right. I don't mean to be.
Gentleman back here first, he has a question, sir.
That road is actually belongs to the county of Morgan County. And you said yourself that you're not going to give up Morgan County. Okay. Our 150-yard driveway, where does that precedent on Morgan County property? Where does that take the right of us or anybody here or anybody in Morgan County to travel that road on ATV, whatever? And it does come out somewhere. That road actually comes out over 8711 at the bottom of 519 Hill, which is a blacktop road. It goes right by the lake.
You ought to see the pictures of that road. I wouldn't call the road trail. Well, I got pictures of it.
What you are calling the washouts are small ATVs. I mean, I have an ATV. Remember on my pickup truck? If that was folks fixed, I could drive my pickup down through there. Or up to the end of it. No problem.
I ask if we cannot.
Gentleman back there, you had something to say?
15 years ago, I was here, the same situation.
two property owners want to shut down County Road 1378. It is a farm, two farms, government property on the back, Blacktop County Road all the way through. People access that road for years, doing as they please, and two property owners want to shut that road down. We all come together and got that road open back up. I since bought 250 acres of that, and when they tried to get this gate shut, there was people doing drugs, people doing all kinds of devious things up there, awful things. This day I walk up and down that road with my 3-year-old and my 13-year-old, and not a person bothers us at all. People come on side by side, wave, just doing their things. You know, have you seen your pictures I've had out there on my board? I blew me in. Now I'm trying to go for property, blew me in. And also, I was going to ask too, if you're not going to prosecute anybody that's walking out through there, say I take my little girls down there. 3 girls aren't going to walk very far. I'm not going to take her on side by side. Side by side, my side by side is just like a tractor for me or anything. It's quite like, it's not far away. If we get harassed going down through there, you going to prosecute them?
I didn't hear that.
If we get harassed going down through there?
If you're harassed doing something legally, I will prosecute the person harassing you.
Sir in the blue shirt, you had a question? No. Darcy, back to you. Status.
If we cannot come to any resolution within the fiscal court, because it kind of seems like we can't at these open fiscal court meetings, I think it is very crucial that we make it so that the fiscal court, myself as the only homeowner, and the Forest Service, when they are able to come, because they are extremely thin, that we can all have a meeting together before any decisions are made.
And the citizens that are should be included as well.
The Forest Service needs to be included. They said they haven't heard anything from officials. They have told you guys in meetings that there are certain regulations, and I know you haven't heard from them since. They said they haven't gotten any proposals. So I request that if no decision can be made tonight or any other fiscal meeting, that the entire fiscal court, myself as the homeowner, and the Forest Service, when they can come, have a meeting this month.
I mean, I don't know. This has been. I don't speak for the fiscal court on this one. We talk about due process. You've been coming to the fiscal court now for 3 months. You've put stuff in the paper. You put stuff on Facebook. You've threatened to sue us, not with this attorney, but with another attorney. You've went to the federal government. You've went to the attorney general. At some point, if you don't get your way, you just have to accept it like a regular adult. I'm not saying that we're not going to do that, because I don't know. I don't have a vote. But at some point, you can't. You just lost. We're just adults. We lose sometimes.
She's obviously representing her interest, and I've advised her. And again, the Forestry Service is the main party to this consideration, I think, because they own a great deal of land over which she's saying you have title.
That is a very good point. So in the Forestry Service, we were told is going to do this, this, and this to us. We were kind of threatened with that, not with you, with somebody else. And then we had conversations with the Forestry Service. And then I did what power that I thought I had, and I put up a thing on the gate that said, move this. I'm not saying I'm President of the United States, but the Forestry Service believed that they needed to remove that gate. And I think that says something. I think that the Forestry Service realized that we did own land there, and they couldn't keep Morgan County from accessing Morgan County land. So if the federal government, and I've heard this over and over and over, if the federal government has a problem with Morgan County, we'll deal with the federal government. I don't want to get on the wrong foot with the federal government. There's such thing as the supremacy clause, and you definitely know what I'm talking about. Morgan County is down here. You got the federal government, you got the Kentucky, and then you got us down here, okay? But when it comes to local stuff, down here's where it counts. If the federal government's got a problem with us, then they should come to us and we'll work it out with them. We're not going to work it out with every private citizen that might happen to live along the road.
You've given a fair summary. The reason why that gate was moved is because it was on her property. The Forestry Service need to push it back on its own property. But they're wanting to see how this is resolved. And I think the Forestry Service has a lot to say here. You know, you've got the Army Corps of Engineers are going to have to be participatory. Wildlife, water, all those people are going to have a say-so. If you start spending money on the survey and then you put road improvements in there, Lo and behold, the service says, fellas, that's as far as you get to go here. You spend a lot of money for a 4/10 of a mile. And I think an easier way to do it is the way we did the rails and trails things back in Lexington. We sat down with everybody as participants, stakeholders. We had a plan, we worked it out, and people may not have been totally satisfied, but they were all pretty happy about it. That's an easier way to do it than everybody walking out of here, grumbling about each other.
Jim, to say,
Yes, sir.
can I say one thing? He keeps saying the forester. You all are not talking about the forester. You're talking about Morgan County property.
4/10 of a mile.
You're wrong. Now, it's more than 4/10 of a mile. It's probably 12.
Huh?
Yeah, it goes to the north side of the liquor.
It goes to the 10, but ours goes to the line.
Ours goes to the line.
It goes around county. Now, he keeps saying, and I think everybody is missing it. The forestry won't allow it. That don't have nothing to do. We're talking about Morgan County. Just say it.
Scott?
The document that he gave them is the federal national forest document that defines their rights to protect the forest. It doesn't matter if you have a road, land, or anything
You're
else.
saying the same thing he's saying.
Well,
We're not
that's
talking
what the
about
government
forestry.
says. So
No, he may be right, but the practical sense is, if you're only talking about 4/10 of a mile, why do you want to spend $15,000 for a survey? Why do you want to put 20,000 into a culvert after you get approval from all these entities? And before long, you got to bring DGA in or twos or whatever it is you're going to build the road with. You're talking about a lot of money that's going to give you 4/10, 8/10, whatever it is, when you could spend that money someplace else.
Well, in 1935, there was some people in the fiscal court that also had the decision of whether to spend a lot of money, and they chose to. In fact, it was so much money at the time, $2,000. That doesn't seem like much now.
I knew you were going to come up with that.
$2,000 that Morgan County said, this is so important to us, we want to buy this, we don't have the money. So we're gonna pay for it in installments, okay? So, they paid for it, it was like 4 installments of $2,000, $500 a piece. This isn't, some whim like, hey, this is pretty cool. It's like, this has been evidently a long-term plan of Morgan County that's only been rediscovered lately.
Well, the railroad's going to abandon the property and the county bought it. Now, that's how that worked, okay? If they had abandoned the property and the county didn't buy it, it would have gone to the adjoining landowners. You know that?
No, they owned it. So you're like, sometimes, as we talked about, railroads had easements through the areas.
Sure.
And sometimes when they had a little bit more political power, they got to own that area. So if they would have pulled out, they could sell it to anybody they want. It doesn't go back to an original landowner if the underlying land is owned. And that's what this land was. We didn't buy an easement, we bought land.
No, it would go back to the adjoining landowners if they abandoned it, but they didn't abandon it, they sold it. And it's smart for them to do that. That's fine. That's not here nor there.
I would like to ask the magistrates to make a motion to not make any decisions without having a meeting with the Forest Service and myself. For it to be there's no reason to continue to disclude the Forest Service.
I never got it. I would like to ask, you guys know all the facts. You know the facts. I would like to ask the magistrates, make a motion, close this road to motorized vehicles. You know the story.
If we do that, your own daughter can't get to where she's going. So don't ask for something that you can't get.
That's fine.
Doesn't.
That's fine. If it gives her peace of mind, and you ask,
I think, let me cut you off. It's partially my client. I think her motion's well taken. If you call a point of order, let you all decide the issue. You vote it up or down. We're going to live with it one way or the other. We got no choice. And thank you for your time listening to all this.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right. At this point.
I would like to ask the magistrates if they'd be willing to make that motion.
We've already done that, ma'am. This conversation's over. We'll let me talk to them now. You can take a seat, please.
I do have one question between us.
Yes.
If we have people that have agreed to volunteer their own equipment on time and all that, do we have to give them permission where we have the road temporarily closed?
Yes.
We can do that legally, give them permission to go down there, because it's going to cause a hornet's nest.
You have to insure them.
Yeah, because they're on county property. I mean, that's, and if they get hurt for
They're
something.
automatically insured with Fiscal.
Sure.
You're right.
The first ravine is just the beginning of it. I mean, you guys do. Like,
Right now, I
it's
think
important
what
you
we need to
understand.
do is, at this point, what we need to do is get the survey done. It's more important.
That's what I think, wait on the survey.
Let's wait on the survey and look at a scope of work and see what Mr. Kirk gives us and go from
Right now, we are accommodating Mrs. Davis by having it close to through traffic. The survey is a good, first step to understanding, where everything is. And so I think it not only satisfies at least partially what Mrs. Davis wants, at least temporarily, it gives us a better understanding of what exactly Morgan County owns going forward. I mean, this money's probably gonna be very well spent by the time it gets done with it, okay? I mean, I'm a lawyer that says, oh man, if you've got a property dispute, that's tough, because you gotta get a lawyer, you gotta get a surveyor, try to work it out between yourselves. We're at a point now, we're probably not gonna work it out between ourselves regarding just where the lines are, okay? So I think the survey is good in order to protect our assets. But as far as you're concerned, Mrs. Davis, the road is already off. It's already closed.
I've ordered the road closed right now.
So, and that was already voted on last meeting.
That's fair.
All right.
Do you guys plan on claiming all 10 miles of that? Like, are you surveying all 10 miles of that road or just targeting?
It's 4 miles approximately.
I've been to, I hate looking at the deeds as far as the descriptions, but from what I understand, we're gonna survey everything that we think that we might own all the way to the Brown County border.
But not the other 6 miles?
No, this says Leisure Paragon Road is 3.5.
Okay, but of the deed, not the rest of the 10 miles?
Our property ends at the Leisure Paragon Road.
Yeah, because it says.
There used to be a bridge there that connected it over to the Paragon Road.
Is that not a very significant cost?
It may be, but that's up to us. Just like, employing Mr. Todd is probably a very significant cost as well.
I'll shoot it and say.
So my question, I do want to say one of my big concerns, okay? So if this deed is proven in any way, because you have to understand, when I purchased this property, there was no evidence of any of that.
No evidence of
the 1935 deed. So I have all these structures along my land, what I believe to be my land when I purchased the property, that would be potentially within that 66 feet. And so one of my big scares is, if you guys do the survey, and if it is proven right by a 130-year-old title search, are you gonna take all my structures that I invested money into? I do wanna know though.
Let them do the survey first, they can't answer that question.
Yeah, I think Mr. Todd is on the right track here. Why don't we take that up when we get there? Right now, it has not presented an obstacle to Morgan County to remove your structures from the other 56 feet, okay? So that's not something we're working on right now. Let's find out where the lines are, and if it comes time that conversation's made, we can make that. As I said, usually when you have a good agreement, both sides gives up a little bit of something, okay? I'm not trying to hurt you, Ms. Davis. If you have moved here and you're paying taxes, I welcome the new blood, okay? I want to make you safe where you are. But at the same time, I have a duty to protect Morgan County property. So if there is, if you've got something not very important that's movable, we might say, we'll move that. But maybe if you've got a shed that would be hard to move, maybe we would overlook that. You see what I'm saying?
Can I personally ask you why you don't believe a hiking trail is a good solution as far as resources and public safety?
I'm not. I think that's an irrelevant question. Morgan County can do with Morgan County land what we want to do.
I understand that, because it's not a question as to why you feel that way.
It's irrelevant.
Okay, we need to move on.
Thank you.
It's been
Thank you.
I still got a closed session to do.
Yeah, closed session issue?
Yeah, there's another real estate.
It's not about you all.
It's not about you.
I'm not yet, I'm not that way.
Have safe travels back.
And we just need to state the reason.
You go to closed session?
Yeah.
All right, everybody, get well.
So the reasoning for the closed session is the purchase of real estate that we think that if we talk publicly, that it might change the price of that real estate. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir. So whoever makes the motion, go in and just state that.
Ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Crowd went down.
Get better, it's better tonight. It was last time, I'm glad they brought my turn. Yeah. He was having a hard time keeping on the control. You got everybody back in? You got the cameras on? All right, cameras on, let's roll. Got mics. All right, I'll entertain a motion based upon the discussion we just had in closed session.
I'll make a motion that we enter into talks with Morgan County Schools on the property that was discussed.
I'll second. Brandon got it.
Brandon beat you. We have a motion on the floor. It's been properly second to enter into negotiations with the Morgan County School Board District to on properties, subject properties that was discussed in closed session. Is there any questions or discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All opposed? No, we have a motion on the floor, properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Hallelujah.